everyone, welcome back. Happy March 8th. Today the clock's turned ahead and boy am I feeling it. I'm not sure if anyone else's kids decided to wake up extremely early besides mine. Both of mine were up around 5:30 and then the other one 6:30, which was actually 4:30 and 5:30 prior to switching the clock. So I am insanely exhausted, but the flowers are not going to wait for us. So today we are starting our second round of Stock and Strawflower. These are both cool, hardy annuals. I'm excited to get them into the ground. It is starting to finally warm up here. We're in like the 50s today, and then we're going to be in the mid to upper 60s in the next few days. However, the snow is starting to melt at a fairly quick pace, I would say maybe, and it is starting to puddle. And unfortunately, I've noticed my raised garden beds, like the soil is still frozen, so it looks like a soggy mess. And I did try to winter over some, like I think a lava mist and maybe a few other things that I direct sowed. Oh, blue plurum was one of them, and I'm not quite sure if they're going to make it through the boggy soil conditions that they are in right now. So I did just start some blue plurum the other day. I'm kind of happy I did a plan B because now I'm kind of learning that maybe I can't winter things over with the fact that I don't know how New England weather is going to be. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Christy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A. And this is going to be my second year selling flowers at my roadside flower stand. So we are really trying to bulk up on the spring flowers. As I mentioned, Stock and Strawflower are cool hardy annuals, so we can get those out a little bit earlier. I do have my beds ready to go. However, I'm just waiting for the snow to finally melt and for the ground to thaw, or at least the soil, I should say, in my raised beds to thaw. So today is going to be fairly quick. I'm just going to go over the different varieties I am starting. They will be different colors than my previous succession. I'm trying to succession plant them. Also, because I didn't have any room under my grow lights, I actually just put together another shelf down in the basement. So my plan is to move some of my snapdragons, and I probably would say like Rudbeckia or any kind of perennial that I might have, or something that can tolerate cooler temperatures. It's about 55 to 57 degrees down there. So I'm hoping I can like kind of start the hardening off process. It'll be at least a good 8 to 10 degrees cooler down there, and then hopefully we can get them into the greenhouse in the next few weeks and then plant them out hopefully by April. I was hoping to do it a little bit sooner, but with the snow, I just really don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. So we are going to go over right now the varieties I will be starting, and then I'll just talk a little bit about seed starting Stock and Strawflower in case you are just hopping on and you didn't see my last video. But if you want something a little bit more in depth, I will link those below in the description for you, so you can definitely check those out. So I'm going to be starting 2 trays of stock today. I'm trying to use some of the colors I had from last year. So one of those is going to be iron purple. I probably only have like 10 seeds left, and all my seeds for stock are going to be from Johnny's. So I have iron purple, and as I mentioned, I did start these in the fall. They were very pretty, but they started to bloom after my frost. So unfortunately, I really was only to enjoy them myself. So at least I know next time I'm going to start them a little bit earlier. I'm also going to be starting vintage brown and iron cherry, iron rose, which I think was also from last year, so I'm not sure if there's too many of these. If anything, what I will do is I'll start with the iron rose and the purple and do those ones first, so then I can space out the rest accordingly. And then I do have Cat's Ruby. I have a ton of those. And then I also have the Cat's Formula Mix, which I plan on sowing last for whatever cells I have left over. I will be starting stock in those. Now, with starting stock, I am still growing out singles and doubles. I just don't have time to really comb through and snip the singles. And frankly, if they survive and make it outside, I will be happy. I probably had about 75% or so make it out last time between growing and germination. That was fine. It was just making them live up until I planted them out was a little bit of a struggle for me. And I did this during the summer months, so I'm not sure if it was just too hot in here. And then I fall planted them. I was trying to see if I could fall plant stock, which I know I can. This time I will probably start them in the basement where it will be a lot cooler, and then hopefully they'll stay alive a little bit longer. And then I know now I'm going to be starting them probably a good 3 to 4 weeks ahead of time compared to last year. So With stock, it's going to take anywhere from 7 to 14 days to germinate. I would say it probably took at least 6 or 7. It was probably from the following weekend where I was able to take them off my heat mat. These, I believe, have to stay between 65 and 75 degrees. I put a little probe in one of the cells. I have a humidity dome on top to help keep the moisture in. I also add vermiculite too as well. And then that way they can stay at a nice consistent temperature until I take them off and then put them under the grow lights. I'm pretty sure with stock, they don't technically need light to germinate because it says in my notes that you're going to cover them with 1/4 inch of soil. And Johnny's does recommend starting them in 128 cell count trays, which I have. So I have 2 of those. And we are just going to hodgepodge all the different varieties in them. So I don't have like any specific amount. But I do have 2 trays already. They're actually right down here. You can kind of see them poking through and they're looking really good, even though there's some algae. I've been having issues with that. I'm just thinking it's because I need to start getting some fans going in here, but I've kind of delayed that a little bit. All right, now let's go on to the varieties of Strawflower I will be starting. And then we're going to start these rather quickly. This will be my second succession of Strawflower. I believe the first succession was mostly like the apricots, the peaches. I think I had like vintage white, silvery rose. So these are going to be 3 different varieties, 2 from Swallowtail and 1 from Johnny's. From Johnny's, I will be starting the cranberry rose variety. And then from Swallowtail, I have the Swiss Giant mix. And I also have the Scarlet Choice Double, which I'm thinking these are more like, I know like besides the cranberry, a little bit darker, maybe some oranges, pinks, and yellows. I really am just, again, trying to dabble into learning more about dried flowers. I really would like to use Strawflower more for dried flower arrangements or for adding them to pumpkins because I'm going to attempt to do pumpkins again. I didn't do pumpkins last year. I did do pumpkins, however, 2 years ago, and I did it on a cattle panel, and I made a pumpkin arch, and I was able to get probably like 5 pumpkins or so. I was happy about that, but this time I'm just going to let them vine all over the ground in between my rows, so we're going to see how that goes. With Strawflower, it can take anywhere from 7 to 10 days to germinate. I think this one as well was probably around that 5 to 7 day mark. I again will have them on my heat mat, and they can tolerate anywhere from 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit while they are germinating. So I'll probably put my heat mat to 70 degrees, so it's a happy medium between the stock and the Strawflower. I don't have anything on my heat mat right now, so I can fit all 3 trays fairly well. And when I do Strawflower, I am starting them in 72 count trays. Strawflower is a little bit different, however, they do need light to germinate, so I won't be covering them with soil. I will add a fine layer of vermiculite, water them in, get the humidity dome on as well, and then make sure that they are under the grow lights. My heat mat just happens to be under grow lights, so I'm not taking it on and off or moving it. So we should be good to go, and I have plenty of room now that I will be moving a lot of my stuff downstairs to the basement. All right, and let's get to planting. I am trying to get this as quick as possible because I need coffee like so badly. So let's get to it. So I have my soil pre-moistened right now. If you're new, what I like to do is I have a big bin. It's actually right down there. I got it for like $8 at Home Depot. I use Pro Mix potting soil. I just dump that in, add some water, give it a good mix. And then if I can squeeze it in the palm of my hand and it holds its form, then I'm good to go. If I have water droplets coming out, I need to add some more potting mix. And then if it's not holding its form, it means it's a little bit too dry, and then I'll just add some more water. And then I will fill this, and I like to compact everything down, try to get all those air pockets out. And then I will just make sure, especially if it's something that needs light to germinate, like the Strawflower, or they're super small, like say Rebecca or Feverfew, I also will just tamp down the cells. That way nothing will get lost in the shuffle and like get underneath like a piece of perlite or something. So we are going to start with our stock first. And since it does need to be covered, I'll probably just go in afterwards and speed through, just covering everything ever so lightly. I've seen people start things with dry soil, water them in, and then add more soil afterwards. But I just want to make sure I get all my air pockets out because watering is such a pain, especially when you have to keep going back and forth and you're not in the greenhouse and have like a hose. So I just want to make sure I get all of that out so that way my dirt is not settling afterwards. So let me find the iron purple, because like I said, I don't have that many. And if I remember correctly, yes, stock, I can just put in the palm of my hand. And I like to put 2 or 3 seeds per cell just because I'm not quite sure how much are going to germinate. So with the purple, I'll probably just stick to 2 because I literally have like 10 of them in here. So this is only going to take a couple of spots. And then I also, if I can, it doesn't always happen, if I can put 2 in, I will try and put them in on opposite corners. That way they just have a little bit more room to grow, or it's easy if you want to try and tease them apart later or plant them out. I kind of just plant everything out. I really like to test the limits on my spacing wise. So I don't know, that's just kind of how we do things over here because I am so limited. All right, next up I have iron cherry, and I already have all of my labels pre-done. So that's really gonna help me out. I'm just gonna stick that in there nicely. And I plan on using all of these because I have enough cells, I think, for everything. And then most of them, I think, only have 50 in. And when you put 2 in per cell, it goes pretty quick. And if you get 3 in there, I mean, honestly, I don't worry about it, but that's totally up to you. So I'm just going to do a couple of these. I'll get in nice and close for you after so you can see. And then I'm just going to, as always, save you the trouble and speed through. And also, if you want to not have the singles and you want just doubles, you can come back through later and then just pull or snip the ones. What is that? Oh, that was a bug. I'm like, is that a spider? No, it's just a piece of perlite. And thin out the ones that you don't want. And since stock is a one and done, I plan on turning the bed depending on what time of the year, either for some other successions of zinnias or celosia. So we'll see. So those beds will not go to waste. All right, so that is going to be all of the iron cherry. I'm going to get nice and close so you can see it. Then we're going to speed things through. So right now I am going to do, I think, iron rose next. Let's see where we left off. And then I'm hoping I can get, oops, one just rolled out. That's not good. All right, well, we're already down one. All right, and this is what the seeds are going to look like up close, if I can get them off. So these are our seeds. And let's see here. I am just sprinkling 2 or 3 in per cell as best as I can. All right, and that is going to be all the iron rose. We're going to speed through the rest, and I'll catch you back in a minute. I have 1 tray down of our stock. The second tray is just going to be of the Cat's formula mix. So I am going to get that done right now. I'll come back to you when we have straw flour, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I am just so dang tired. And I'm gonna try and see, you know what, maybe if I can get a quick nap in. These time changes are just like literally no joke. When you have kids, I feel like they're thrown off. So then of course you are too. And no amount of coffee I think is going to kick in today. So I'm going to get the next one done, and I'll see you in a minute. To our straw flour now, and I'm pretty sure that speed round of stock did not record, but that's okay. So I actually somehow ran out of the Cat's formula mix because I always overseed. So I added a few sections of ruby on the end, but we're doing straw flour. I'm just trying to find where my tags are. So I have 3 different varieties. I have the Swiss Giant mix, the Cranberry Rose, and the Scarlet Choice Double. I'm probably just going to evenly try and break this up, get a couple of those little big pieces out. So that way we can make this hopefully as easy as possible. So everyone will get 4 rows, and we are going to start with the Swiss Giant mix that is from Swallowtail. And I don't know if it tells me, oh wow, there's a lot of seeds it looks like in here. Oh, yay. So many. Awesome. So we can save those for next year. I will try not to overseed. These do need light to germinate, so it'll be so much quicker. I normally, if I was outside or somewhere where I didn't mind getting a little bit messy, like in the kitchen, I would just chuck a whole layer of soil on top and not worry about making a mess. However, I am in my master bedroom, and this is carpet. So I really don't want to be spilling dirt everywhere. So I try and just, as gently as I can, put it on. It's like so time consuming, but I just really don't want to make a huge mess. And I am just too tired to even worry about how many seeds are in here right now. So we're just doing a little sprinkle. They're like literally the size of a rainbow sprinkle. So you know what, if some fall in, that's fine. There are so many seeds, so many. I did winter sow straw flour last year, and it did have, oh God, look at that. I'm getting it all over the place. All right, well, and it did have a later bloom time. They weren't, however, in full sun when I was growing them, which was my mistake. I kind of miscalculated where the sun hits the trees. Let's see, Cranberry Rose is next. So this year, hopefully we'll do a little bit better job. Oh, they are all stuck to the envelope. So we're going to just sprinkle some. And I really, you know what, I always say, like, I don't know why I label everything. It's good to know, for, you know, record keeping, but I'm not selling to florists or anything. These are just going to be in bouquets I sell at my roadside flower stand. So if something gets mixed in, and a lot of these are mixes anyways, it doesn't really matter. I'm hoping though, one day it will matter. Maybe I can get into florists. I don't know. I don't know where the flower stand is going to go. I always would have loved a U-pick. It's just, I don't think that is going to be possible because I grow everything in my backyard and I really don't want people on my property. But even if it was just like, had extra flowers and I opened it up to friends and family, that would always be fun. Have a little girls' night here with the kids and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll be selling to florists. All right, last is going to be the Scarlet Choice Double, and then we are going to be done. So I can just top this with some vermiculite, water it in, get it on the mat, and then we're gonna be good to go. I have to, I don't know, get a nap in or something today. Let me know in the comments if you were hit hard with your kids in this time change. I thought at least if I woke up at my normal time on the weekend so I can like edit everything, so I can post it on YouTube, that I would get an extra hour to myself. But nope, kids had other plans. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? Waking up so dang early. All right, but at least the sun is kind of out, so hopefully it's melting all the snow outside, because that I'm also over as well. All right, we're just gonna, you know, give a little extra for good measure. Mine had a great success germinating when I did my first round. All right, this is going to be like the impossible. Get them back all in. Ooh, I might have done it. All right, there we go. All right, vermiculite. Actually, no, I'm gonna water these in first, then I'm going to do vermiculite, just so that way they get good contact with the soil. So I'm just going to really make sure these get in there. And they settle nicely. And I also did start coleus and some dusty miller. And I forgot what else I started as well, but I was not able to get that video edited and on, but those have started. So I'm excited to see my coleus actually right now starting to put some color on their leaves. I'm very excited to use those for my containers and also for foliage in the fall. So we'll see how those do. If not, I said my backup is always to go down the road and just grab whatever she has left over in like July. All right, that looks pretty good. Vermiculite, and then we are going to be done. Oh, I'm so excited. What I'm also super excited about is I will be starting my, I don't know, third, fourth, whatever round you want to call it, of winter sowing, except this time, mid to late March, I will do all of my winter sowing for my warm loving annuals. I also want to try some tomatoes in there as well. Not that I need them, but I think it would just be fun to try. But my zinnias I will be doing, especially the ones I'm using as my border. Anything that I need in containers, I want to do that as well. I have containers all on my deck and up front, so I'm hoping I can save some space because things like I spent a little bit more money on for like zinnias, like for from Floret. I want to have that like grown in a controlled environment. But like other things, I don't mind just throwing them in a winter sown milk jug and seeing how they do. All right, that looks good. We'll water them in one more time and then we are going to be done. So happy. Phew, we are done. All right, we are done with seed starting today. I'm usually like so excited to start seeds, but today I'm just really not in it. I'm just exhausted. The time change is no joke, so I'm glad that we are going to just relax for the rest of the day and afternoon, except I do need to move some of my snapdragons downstairs to the basement, but that should be fairly quick. So thank you so much for joining along, and I hope that you are having so much fun seed starting with me. I do hopefully plan on showing you how everything is looking a little bit more into detail, where I will pull things one by one and show you so you can see their growth compared to when we were starting them in just literally like little trays of dirt, and they looked like absolutely nothing until they germinated. A lot of things have grown a ton. My snapdragons, I'm not quite sure if I want to pinch or not. And let me know in the comments if you've gotten this far in the video, if you pinch or do not pinch your snapdragons. I am not sure if I just want one strong stem or if I want to pinch so they branch, because they are starting to get super duper tall right now, and I'm not quite sure if I want to let them continue growing as tall as they are, or if I want to try and propagate them. So let me know, because I'm still undecided. Or maybe I'll do like half and half. We'll see. But that's also another thing I just don't know if I have time for. So go ahead and click like and subscribe and hit this bell button so that way you can stay tuned on everything we are growing. And hopefully we can start harding things off so they can go into at least a greenhouse so I can make some room, because at the end of the month we are getting our first round of zinnias in, and I am so dang excited. So until next time, happy gardening. Bye.